The 1930s, a decade that would be forever etched in the annals of history, not for its triumphs, but for its trials and tribulations. It was a time when the world seemed to stand still, gripped by an overwhelming sense of uncertainty and fear, a decade etched in history. The 1930s were marked by a series of events that would challenge the very fabric of society. From the bustling streets of New York to the quiet farmlands of the Midwest, no corner of the world was left untouched by the shadow of despair. A time of hardship, struggle, and despair. Families were torn apart, dreams were shattered, and the promise of a better tomorrow seemed like a distant memory. The breadlines grew longer, the shanty towns expanded, and the hope in people's eyes began to fade. The Great Depression, a global economic crisis, gripped the world. It all began with the Wall Street crash of 1929, a catastrophic event that sent shockwaves through the global economy. Banks failed, businesses closed, and the stock market was in chaos. The ripple effects were felt far and wide, leaving no one unscathed. Millions faced unemployment, poverty, and hunger. The streets were filled with the unemployed men and women who had once held steady jobs, now found themselves begging for food. Soup kitchens became a lifeline for many, offering a glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak existence. The Dust Bowl added to the misery, displacing families and turning fertile lands into barren wastelands. It was a time that tested the human spirit. Despite the overwhelming odds, people found ways to persevere. Families stuck together, communities rallied around each other, and the human spirit, though battered, remained unbroken. It was a testament to the resilience and strength that lies within us all. The Great Depression left an indelible mark on society. The scars of this era can still be seen today in the abandoned farms, the foreclosed homes, and the empty factories that once buzzed with activity. It was a time that reshaped the world in ways that are still being felt. It reshaped economies and redefined the role of government. In response to the crisis, governments around the world took unprecedented steps to provide relief and recovery. The New Deal in the United States, for example, introduced a series of programs and public works projects aimed at reviving the economy and providing jobs. These efforts not only helped to alleviate some of the suffering, but also redefined the role of government in society. The lessons learned continue to resonate today. The Great Depression taught us valuable lessons about the fragility of prosperity and the importance of a safety net. Economists and historians continue to study this period, drawing parallels to modern-day economic challenges and reminding us of the need for vigilance and preparedness. The story of the Great Depression is a reminder of the fragility of prosperity. It serves as a stark reminder that even in times of great wealth and success, we must remain cautious and aware of the potential for sudden and devastating change. The headlines of the past echo in the present, urging us to learn from history and avoid repeating the same mistakes. It's a story of resilience, adaptation, and the enduring human spirit. In the face of unimaginable adversity, people found ways to rebuild their lives, to adapt to new realities, and to hold on to hope. The Great Depression, while a time of great suffering, also showcased the incredible strength and resilience of the human spirit. It is a story that continues to inspire and remind us of our capacity to overcome even the greatest of challenges. The Great Depression. A period of severe economic decline that affected millions of people across the globe. It started in 1929, triggered by the catastrophic stock market crash in October. The economic downturn lasted for a decade, stretching into the late 1930s. It was the longest, deepest, and most widespread depression of the 20th century, affecting both industrialized and non-industrialized nations. The Great Depression was marked by several key factors that compounded its severity. High unemployment rates soared, leaving millions jobless and struggling to make ends meet. Businesses failed at an unprecedented rate, leading to widespread bankruptcies and closures. Industrial production plummeted, signifying a shrinking economy and a halt in manufacturing. International trade collapsed as countries turned inward, adopting protectionist policies that further stifled economic recovery. Deflation set in, with falling prices but stagnant wages, making it difficult for people to afford even basic necessities. The Great Depression was a global crisis, impacting countries rich and poor alike. It reshaped economies, societies, and governments, leaving a lasting legacy on the world. In the United States, President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs aimed to provide relief, recovery, and reform to a nation in distress. These programs included public works projects, financial reforms, and regulations designed to stabilize the economy and provide jobs. Social safety nets like Social Security were established to protect the most vulnerable citizens. Ultimately, it was the economic demands of World War II that fully ended the Great Depression, as industries ramped up production for the war effort. The post-war period saw a significant economic boom, leading to prosperity and growth that reshaped the global economy. The lessons learned from the Great Depression continue to influence economic policies and practices to this day, reminding us of the importance of economic stability and resilience. The 1920s, a time of prosperity and excess. The Roaring Twenties, but beneath the surface, trouble brewed. The stock market soared, fueled by speculation. People borrowed heavily, buying stocks on margin. Overproduction became a problem. Factories churned out goods, consumers couldn't keep up. Farmers faced falling crop prices. Debts mounted. The seeds of crisis were sown. October 29th, 1929, Black Tuesday. The stock market crashed. Panic selling gripped investors. Millions of shares were traded at plummeting prices. Fortunes were lost overnight. The crash shattered confidence in the economy. Banks failed as people withdrew their savings. Businesses collapsed. Unemployment skyrocketed. The Great Depression had begun. Section 5. The Dust Bowl, Nature's Cruel Hand. The 1930s brought another disaster, the Dust Bowl. Severe drought and dust storms ravaged the Great Plains. Topsoil blew away, leaving farmland barren. Farmers, already struggling, faced ruin. They were forced to abandon their land. Many migrated west, seeking work and a better life. The Dust Bowl added to the misery of the Great Depression. Section 6. America in Despair, the Human Cost. The Great Depression had a devastating impact on Americans. Unemployment reached unprecedented levels. By 1933, 1 in 4 Americans was out of work. Families struggled to survive. Bread lines and soup kitchens became common sights. People lost their homes and farms. The American dream seemed out of reach for millions. The Great Depression left a scar on the national psyche. Section 7. A World in Crisis, Global Impacts. The Great Depression was a global crisis. It affected countries worldwide. International trade plummeted. As nations imposed tariffs, unemployment soared in Europe and beyond. Political instability grew as extremist movements gained traction. The rise of fascism in Europe was fueled in part by the economic despair of the Great Depression. The world was in turmoil. Section 8. The Road to Recovery, New Deal and War. The road to recovery was long and arduous. In the United States, President Franklin D. Roosevelt launched the New Deal. This series of programs and reforms aimed to provide relief, recovery, and reform. The New Deal put people back to work on public projects. It provided social security for the elderly. It regulated the banking system. While the New Deal helped alleviate some suffering, it was World War II that ultimately pulled the United States out of the Great Depression. Section 9. Lessons from the Abyss, Never Again. The Great Depression was a defining moment in history. It was a time when the world was plunged into economic despair and millions of lives were upended. The images of bread lines, soup kitchens, and makeshift shelters are etched into our collective memory, serving as a stark reminder of the fragility of our economic systems. It taught us hard lessons about economic instability, social safety nets, and the importance of global cooperation. The bank runs of the 1930s, where people rushed to withdraw their savings, highlighted the need for a more secure financial system. The New Deal programs introduced by President Franklin D. Roosevelt were a direct response to these challenges, aiming to provide relief, recovery, and reform. The New Deal legacy continues to shape government policies today. Projects like the Hoover Dam and the initiatives of the Works Progress Administration not only provided jobs but also built infrastructure that still benefits us. These programs laid the foundation for modern social safety nets and economic policies. We learned the dangers of unchecked speculation and the need for financial regulation. The stock market crash of 1929 was a wake-up call. showing the catastrophic consequences of a lack of oversight. This led to the establishment of regulatory bodies and laws designed to prevent such a disaster from happening again. We saw the importance of social safety nets to protect the vulnerable. Programs like Social Security were born out of this era, providing a lifeline to those in need. Public assistance lines and community soup kitchens became symbols of hope and resilience, showing that even in the darkest times, there is a collective effort to support one another. The Great Depression serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of economic collapse. The Dust Bowl migrants, families torn apart, and abandoned homes and farms tell a story of hardship and endurance. These images remind us of the real people behind the statistics, the lives forever changed by economic turmoil. It's a story we must never forget. The lessons learned from this period are invaluable, guiding us in our efforts to build a more stable and just society. By remembering the past, we honor those who lived through it and ensure that we are better prepared for the future.